So the very first step in our project is to paint the background. So I have a Prussian blue paint here that I am using to cover the background in this blue color. Now I'll tell you, it is a little bit easier to put the paint on a piece of plastic or a surface and then mix it with a tiny little bit of water and then cover your canvas. I found that just putting the blob of paint on the canvas and then spreading it around, it ended up being a little bit too thick because golden paint is highly pigmented. So it ended up being a little bit too thick, a little bit too dark, and it took a little bit longer to dry. So when I created it a second time, I actually watered the paint down just slightly. You don't need to water it down a lot. And what that did is it made the paint a better consistency to spread on the canvas, as well as it dried a little bit faster. So you also want to paint the sides of the canvas. If you're going to hang it on a wall, you don't want to see white sides to your canvas, so definitely make sure you get all four sides. And then once you've got it completely covered in paint, you need to let it dry before you get to the next part. And 100% dry, it has to be completely dry. So for the next part, we're going to be adding some stars to the sky, and I used a silver acrylic paint. You could also do this with a gold acrylic paint. If you decide to take your canvas a step further and do the winterizing, adding the snow and the Santa, I would maybe recommend skipping this step, only because it gets a little bit busy, and with the snow you don't really see the stars anyways. So I'm wetting my paint down just slightly. I'm using a splatter brush. It's a brush with really long plastic bristles, and I'm going to run my fingers through those bristles and it splatters the paint onto the canvas. Once you've got it exactly how you like, you need to make sure that it dries completely before we go to the next step.